missing middle housing, of course, is absolutely appropriately named as missing. We build higher density, deed restricted, affordable housing in not enough volume, and we build what we call market rate housing, what some folks call luxury housing, and it's unaffordable. So a couple examples. So in one market rate housing product in San Francisco project, city fees were $165,000 per apartment. And that's a fee on top of the land, on top of the construction, and of course it was a high-rise project, which meant it was already inherently unaffordable. And I focus on the fee issue just because if cities are going to charge the equivalent of country club fees, initiation fees, to come to town, there is no more exclusionary tool and obstacle to missing middle housing. And there's lots of rationales for why they want to do it. I get it, but it means there's no missing middle housing being built. The second issue, as you alluded to, is really housing typology. So mid and high-rise housing is simply too expensive, typically, certainly at the home ownership level, to be affordable to median income families. It just is. So there's a couple different ways to approach that, and I've got some trepidations. We've already in California eliminated single-family zoning. We have by right accessory dwelling units, which can be a separate structure, and junior accessory dwelling units, which is a unit with a kitchenette, bath, and bedroom that can be tucked inside a primary structure. So one of our housing law improvements has been giving any homeowner the ability to do an ADU and a junior ADU in a home. And that's really accelerated production. Now, frankly, a lot of these existed illegally anyway, so some are just getting legalized, but it has really accelerated production in the hundreds of thousands, not just the onesies and twosies. The issue of purchasing existing single-family homes and then making up to 4 units on those homes, which is also being discussed. So the issue of allowing the conversion of single-family homes into fourplexes, which is being discussed now legislatively, is a little bit misrepresented because what's really on the table is splitting single-family lots into 2 lots and then allowing 2 units to be built on each lot, but then also allowing an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, and junior ADU to be built on each of those. So 4 becomes 8, and 8's a pretty big gulp for a small lot. So there's issues about whether infrastructure is there, there's issues about cars, and I want to get to that separately in a minute. But really the big issue is in the higher end neighborhoods, the projects aren't penciling. If you have to spend $2 million for a relatively modest home that in any other part of the United States would be worth $400,000, and then you also have to spend $160,000 a unit in fees, and then have to build, the truth is you can't really get out of that project alive. So poorly designed, the conversion approach of single-family homes is going to result in the more modestly priced single-family homes being absorbed into the market, and that's yet another displacement tool. In fact, there was just a lawsuit filed this past week, and a lot of literature confirming that homes owned by Blacks are routinely undervalued in mortgage appraisals and whatnot. And so these are very much at-risk communities of still attainable, lower income, very, very modest bungalows. There are plenty of other opportunities, infill and edge community opportunities for building more missing middle housing. And we're actually doing a lot of it still in Southern California and in Central California, but it's almost unheard of now in the core Bay Area counties. And the Bay Area tends to dictate housing policy in a very myopic way. We're very opinionated, but we are also the heartland of the no-growth environmental movement. So the idea of building homes on a failing golf course is anathema to us because we want that to stay open space. But a failing golf course surrounded by homes is a pretty great place for townhomes or attached or detached small lot homes that are a heck of a lot more affordable than the half-acre home surrounding the golf course. So we have lots of missing middle opportunities. What we don't have is concurrence as to the existence of that kind of home, because people who live in neighborhoods have exactly the same transportation options as existing residents. And those are car-dependent neighborhoods because that's how we built out. And it's not just California, it's kind of a United States story. And one of the two quick underappreciated facts on cars: during the Bill Clinton presidency, when there was a massive reform of the federal welfare program, and a lot of studies were funded to find out, well, what happened when you suddenly cut off, a two-generation welfare family? How did they do? And the answer is, well, it depended. And one of the major variables that it depended on was whether or not the family owned a car. And families that owned a car did a hell of a lot better in keeping a job, in maintaining or growing an income, and keeping kids in school. Similarly, there's been a massive drop-off pre-COVID in the use of public transit. And it's chicken or egg, because if you don't have people using public transit, then there is no public transit. And so what's chicken, what's egg? There was a big study, a couple of them done in the LA area, which has spent billions of dollars on transit and has seen fallen ridership, especially in buses. And they try to figure out what's going on. Well, what's going on is they lost lower income commuters because the buses simply don't go where the people need to go, because it's a very big region. It's not a bunch of people dumping into one job center. And that's especially true of lower income workers who work shifts or don't work in a major job center destination. And so what they did was lose these lower income workers. And it's a big deal. And how big a deal is it? It's such a big deal to have a car that we made it a civil rights issue to give undocumented immigrants driver's licenses. And what does all that mean? Well, you can get a pretty reliable car for $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000 pre-COVID. It's some, Toyota or Honda or Ford or something that's gonna last forever. And it's a lot cleaner than a 1972 car, but it's a time savings issue. And for anybody who owns a car that is taking care of more than just themselves, so spouse, kids, parent, sibling, cousin, a car is a vast improvement over not a car. So if you think about housing and you wanna get rid of cars, which is another long-held dogmatic belief by the environmental and climate community, very long-held, even electric cars, then you really don't want inexpensive missing middle townhomes built in a golf course community. You really want all those units built on a high-rise on a transit corridor with frequent transit service, and you want jobs there too. And that's simply not the way we're organized. And it doesn't work for the very people that, we're purporting to help with transit.